Solve the system. All right, so let's go ahead and use elimination to solve this. I'm going to actually multiply the first equation by -1. And then I'm going to add it to the second equation. All right, so that gives us -4x squared minus y squared plus 9y is equal to +4. I'm going to add that to 4x squared minus y squared minus 3y is equal to 0. If I do that, these terms cancel out. I'll have -2y squared plus 6y is equal to 4. All right, so let's see if we can solve that quadratic to determine what y would be. So I have -2y squared plus 6y minus 4 is equal to 0 if I bring the 4 to the other side, correct? And from here I can divide everything by -2. If I do that, I'll get -2 into -2 gives you +1y squared minus 3y plus 2 is equal to 0. And I think this is factorable now. So I'll have y and y. Factors of 2 that add to 3 are 2 and 1. Both of them will be negative here, so the middle term ends up being negative. And then we'd find that y minus 2 should equal to 0, and y minus 1 should equal to 0. So therefore, y is equal to 2, and y is equal to 1. All right, so we have two y values. Let's pick any one of the equations. I'm going to pick the second one this time and evaluate the equation with those y values to see what x ends up being. So I'm going to pick the second equation, the 4x squared minus y squared minus 3y equals to 0. It seems that that would be simpler to evaluate. So when y is equal to 2, what happens? Well, we'll have 4x squared minus 2 quantity squared minus 3 times 2 is equal to 0. That's 4x squared minus 4 minus 6 is equal to 0. This will lead us to the idea that 4x squared minus 10 is equal to 0. And then I can solve that by saying 4x squared is equal to 10, and then divide both sides by 4. And finally, that means that x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 10 over 4. Now, I can reduce that a little bit. It'll be plus or minus the square root of 10 over 2, and that gives us basically 4 solutions. So we have the square root of 10 over 2, comma, y is 2, and we have minus square root of 10 over 2, comma, 2. Now, what will happen if we use y equals to 1? Well, for y equals to 1, we're going to end up having 4x squared minus 1 squared minus 3 times 1 is equal to 0. That'll give you 4x squared minus 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. That's 4x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. That's 4x squared is equal to 4. And then finally, x squared is equal to 1. So x must be equal to plus or minus the square root of 1, or in other words, plus or minus 1. So that'll give us 2 more solutions. Those solutions are when y is 1, we have x is 1, and x is -1 when y is 1. So there it is, 4 solutions for the system. Square root of 10 over 2, comma 2, negative square root of 10 over 2, comma 2, 1, comma 1, and -1, comma 1.